like the rock trolls can come to life, and like also like Quasimodo and Aladdin. So like the magic, like that's the rock trolls coming to life is like hunchback magic. The Kumandra coming to life is what Elsa learned out to Holland, which is like Holland looks like Tadashi's window, and like the sand in Aladdin, because that was the magic attorney. So it's like similar magic, the troll magic. So that's why like that's what happened in First Son or in Show Yourself. She built that Kumandra magic. So like that's what's happening with the people turning to stone. Okay, it's the same magic. It's just like to our lands and people. Okay, got it. It's gonna take some time, but it also will be smoother now. People can see what your brain looks like because they didn't know. Not everybody knew. But that's what also happens. You don't know who doesn't know. So police reform, we need to revise, like, there's a lot of laws that we need to revise, like the whole police having to come to your house thing, bullshit, scrapping that. She said for herself needs to be new, like the rules that you want to change, whatever. Like, and also I had to stay sober, so it's like the rules in that game that we were making up. She wants me to grow because that was like the same thing. So what else can I do? So like that's what's happening. So we're scrapping that law, police having to come to your house. Like we're scrapping laws that are like removing things from public record or whatever, like we're just like not even gonna make it like in any way legal or in any way a legal option for like criminals to like scrub their record. You know, again, especially if you make society in such a way that like having a permanent record isn't like a death sentence, then that won't be scary for people to have a permanent record. But you know, we're doing the permanent record. I'm not erasing anything. But I'm not gonna just like not acknowledge anything you did. It doesn't mean that I'm gonna torture you or punish you for it forever, but it's going to be like known forever. Like that's just how it's gonna be. Which then I think incentivizes the community to grow, honestly, because then people are like, okay, well, so people are gonna know this thing about me forever, but that doesn't mean that you can't like destigmatize it. But I think that was what it is, because they were trying to convert people to religion, because like religion, like made up the concept of sins, just so that the pulpit could like absolve people of them, and like create this like cyclical cycle of bullshit. Where it's like, no, how would you just not commit these crimes in the first place? Can you still find some photos of like either photos or artwork? But I think that they're probably art photos. I remember when both cameras were made. We used to go and find some photos of the world, of America specifically, not even just the world, but some photos of America before the US dollar, so you can see what it actually looks like. I mean, again, we obviously know that like life existed before the dollar, but we don't know. I don't know if people are like totally like refreshed and learned on what the world or what America specifically looks like before the dollar. So we need to go like look that up and see what it looks like, so we can actually, because that's what happened when I posted studying as a beaten drum. Is that people were like, oh, look at these Native Americans, and they learned what happened. So like that's what happened. I saved us. That's so funny. You should show yourself, because I'm the emperor. She was telling me to show myself how I saved us all. That's so funny. That's pretty interesting, because I say words wrong on purpose, and I spell words wrong on purpose, but it's funny. So I wonder if that's what was happening. There are some people who didn't know if I was actually stupid, or if I was just like doing that because it was funny. But like I was obviously doing this because it was funny. But that's not like, what the fuck? Again, so it's like, why are you supposed to fucking stupid and childish? It's a fucking joke. That's what happened. That's what the final battle is, isn't it? Command. Because like I command great winds to lift myself off the ground, take your head off. Because like you can call me Christian colorful, because like that's what Anastasia said, like you'll never do that to me again. And she was saying like everything will never be the same again, because like they had heard all of this stuff about like the Novera and like all of these like things that they heard. Like I've seen dark before, but not like this, like dark white, like Absol, the wind spirit. Because like she's in there in that dark like bitch Bible place with her fucking stupid curse because like they make cause this giant ass problem, and like all that she's in there with is that tiny bit of like tiny little bit of like air because like she's being a fucking bitch. Like that's what happened because it was like the same thing as the Christian Belt thing. Is like she was like she's like in there like because like I posted that thing online. She said, "Oh, let me show you the worst, like the worst day or whatever." And like that's what it is, the first thing that's ever been aired on television because like it's just a little tiny bit of wind and she's just in there like she's a fucking idiot. She's just in there with her stupid fucking purse because she knows she's a fucking moron. Okay. Okay, so let's go over police reform in Wish. So I figured out why it's important that like, because like again, obviously like, so what was happening is that like I was like what was happening is I was like, this is a movie. Why does this matter? Like, if somebody needs to call the police, they need to be able to call the police without like characters from movies and TV shows like being involved in the police's like police work. But then I was like, okay, wait, so this actually makes sense because like that's what was happening is like the Disney films like Big Hero 6 and Zootopia and Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet, like those movies have police in them. Like Vanellope calls the police, Hito goes to the police, and also maybe like the characters who like have police in their films like are just like representative of people or like depictions of people who actually like have relationships with the police. I don't know, but so I wonder if that's what's happening is that it's like, and like also like Big Hero 6, like San Francisco, like Big Hero 6, like the city in San Francisco is huge. The city in Zootopia is huge. The city in Wreck-It Ralph Breaks the Internet is huge. So it stands to reason that like the like more prosperous like cities that are depicted in the Disney films are films that have like police that have like the characters that have good relationships with the police. And like Hito's relationship with the police was not great because he like didn't like, there was the whole situation with Callahan and people didn't like believe him, like the people didn't believe like the story. And I also think that there's like a boy who cried wolf aspect to that because Hito is Eros, like the boy with the wolves. It's Enchanted. And then also like that is like Aladdin and Jasmine. Like Tadashi and Hito are Aladdin and Jasmine. So like Jafar was like trying to destroy that, I think. Like Jafar, I think, was trying to like destroy the police force. And so like that's why like that's what Callahan's Mask is it's like the Disney films that like don't acknowledge the police officers and like don't acknowledge police. And I think that that's what it is, because like that is like Jafar is like a kidnapper. So like I think that that's what it is that it's like Jafar, Gothel, like these are the characters in the Disney films that were like trying to make it so that like people were afraid of the police when they should have been afraid of them, like Rapunzel. And so that's kind of what's happening with the green boy, like the green and purple boy in Corona and in Wish, is that it's like and I mean, really, like, Rapunzel had a police officer that helped her. Like, Max is a police officer who got Beauty and the Beast it, so that's probably what's, like, is happening with Zootopia, and, like, that's probably, like, a Beauty and the Beast version of Big Hero 6, because it probably got Beauty and the Beasted. And it was also just fake, because my stuff was stolen. And so, like, removing Callahan's mask, removing Chief Binge's mask, like, that is how, like, we restored, like, the Strange world. And, like, I think that that's why it's, like, blue, because, like, I think that the police, like, that was probably, like, a like, prison island, like Guantanamo Bay or something. Like, that's probably what was happening in Strange World. And so, like, the blue is, like, the mist of San Francisco, because, like, there was probably, like, San Francisco is probably there, but, like, the mist is on and has been on for a time, and is also now visible on YouTube, which is why we could see it in the Strange world, because, like, that looked very much like the internet in the Wreck-It Ralph movies. And so I think that, like, the conclusion that I've come to is that it's like, I think that like what's happening, and like even what's happening in like, let's just acknowledge the battle with Mizrabel. Like, so even what's happening with that, so like now that's like, now we're like, you know, we don't talk about Bruno. Now we're actually talking about it, like the battle with Mizrabel. So like, we're going to post this and people are going to know like, okay, we are ready for people to like acknowledge the battle with Mizrabel, because that's what's happening right now. Mickey and Mizrabel are battling. And so I think now we can get like supplementary like information on that. We will receive that so that you guys know that like we're like that is like in the vocal space now. And so I think that that's kind of what's happening with like Wish, is that it's like Arendelle, like if you were to watch the story of the Enchanted Forest, like Agnar is telling the story of the Enchanted Forest about how these runes and the Enchanted Forest are like he's telling the story about the Enchanted Forest and like the magic, and like he's awed by like the power and like of the spirits and everything. And then like you see the story, it begins, he has the candle, and then like he has like the flame of the candle, and like he starts, because he's magical, like Agnar is an enchanted person, and so like he's telling the story and he has like the flame of the candle, and like I think that that's the point of the Enchanted Forest story, is because like I like Agnar, like my old like appearance melted away, and then like my actual self was that blue boy who like has those black pants and the blue like garments. Like that's who I actually am. That's Eros. Like that was my enchantment dropping. That's what that story is. It's the same thing as in Let It Go. Like Elsa says like my like power flows through the air and all around, or something like that. And then like the most powerful spirits of all. It's the same thing. And then like he said, a powerful mist covered the forest, locking everyone out. And then like Elsa says like, I'm never going back, like the past is in the past, like, and like it's the same story, it's the exact same song, because it's the same book, because I went and rewrote the story. Like that's what the mist was. It's writing. It's like a feather. It's like wind. It's like Eros's wings. It's like I rewrote the story, and that was the mist that locked everybody out, because like it wasn't actually real to begin with. I just rewrote it because I was the actual author, like Lion King, like Aladdin, Returning to Agrabah. It's the same thing. And so like what's happening with like Arendelle is that like, and this is kind of what we saw to an extent in Strange World, like the city like of Avalonia is like really golden and like lavish and like beautiful, and like the statues like of Agnar and Iduna, and then like it's shape-shifting, like it's Camilo's shape-shifting power. It's all the same thing, and it's all like the my shape-shifting power manifested in that film in the form of like removing the Callahan mask and like revealing what like that we're not women, which is what Callahan forced, because that was fake. So we removed Chief Benja's mask, and then like that, like the ridiculousness that you saw in Strange World was because it was like, this is what's actually happening. Like Tefiti like looks like that, like, you know, like that decrepit like creature, because like that was fake. And like that's what the enchantment dropping is that it was like it revealed the beautiful enchantress, which was like Searcher and Ethan, because like all the other shit was bullshit. It was fake. Like that's what happened. And so I think that that's kind of what's happening, is that it's like Arendelle, like he was telling the story of the Enchanted Forest because he wanted like Elsa and Anna to like know what like their like power was, because like, and to know about Beauty and the Beast and like the Snow White, the evil queen in Snow White. He was trying to tell them the history of that so that they would actually know what it is that their kingdom actually is. Because like this all began with like sort of the rightful king. And like what happened then is I like began like this like amalgamation of like all of the like fantasy stories that I had read, like Legolas and like Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter and like Star Wars, like Agrabah, Aladdin, like Tarzan. Like I was just I like am the most powerful spirit of all, is what was happening. And so like that's what happened when she said, you are the one you've been waiting for all of your life, like all time. I am Eros, the original primeval emptiness of the universe. I'm the source block of like this paint world. And so like that's what's happening, is that it's like it is fantasy, and like what like we're kind of revealing is that it's like everything that we know of comes from the human brain and from the human imagination. And so for secularists, it's like all religions are just like human imagination that like endured throughout time or fell away throughout time. And so, like, that's kind of what happened. Like, the old woman's ugliness of the Bible melted away. That's probably why Elizabeth made that movie, because she was telling people at some point in time, like, our money is going to dry up. Like, people are going to realize this isn't real, or we're going to have to tell people that it's not real. And what is going to be left is a beautiful enchantress, like the earth. It's green, paganism, like, and also just like whatever the human imagination has to offer, like, in this generation. That's what she meant when she said that the ugliness will melt away, is that like all of that was going to be gone because it's not real. Like, that's the point. But it's also not as scary as like people thought it was, because we never needed it to begin with. But people didn't know if there was going to be somebody like who was going to be powerful enough to fill that power vacuum. That's why it was scary. But I am here, and like I'm here with the wind, because it's fine. Like, I healed it, like, chill. And so, like, that's what happened. So, like, now the beautiful enchantress that we have, the enchanter that we have, is my X chromosome, my Y chromosome. It's the earth. It's the depiction of the earth that I have drawn for us, so that now, like, we can begin anew and, like, just, like, enjoy the world for what it is now, and, like, try not to destroy it like we did before. And just, like, enjoy our life for as long as we have it before, like, before, like, either we destroy it again or, like, take the measures to not destroy it again, you know? That's what's happening. And so, like, I think that that's kind of what's happening with Arendelle, is that it's, like, he was telling them that because, like, Elsa is a sand person. Her hair is sand. Like, that's why it's gold. It looks like ice because she does have ice powers, but she also has flower powers. That's what's happening in Encanto. That's what her power is. That was what was happening. It's like the enchanted forest, like the dam was destroying that. He said they were not magical. They took advantage of the forest gifts because, like, the stone in Arendelle is fake. So that's what she said. The dam had two sides. That Arendelle also was like that's what happened. So, like, that stone wall, like the dam, was making Arendelle look like that. But the enchantment of it is that it's like you saw those runes when Agnar is telling the story, like, it's gold. And then it, like, he goes, we see the forest, which is what, like, resulted from what King Runar did, and it's stone, because that's what was happening. It's like Agnar, he said the Northuldra follow magic. Agnar, like, they follow Agnar, and King Runard was attacking me. That's what happened. That's what the wind spirit scene was. It's like Elsa saw Agnar getting attacked by Runard. What she sent to Anna was like Agnar attacking the Northuldra leader was like that was like the future, like that was what Agnar could have been. But King Runard wanted him to be Arendellian. That's what happened. And so, like, it was the same thing. She showed him the exact same thing. And so, like, Arendelle, like, what Agnar was revealing to Anna and Elsa is that it's like, Elsa, you are a sand person. You're not an ice person. Like, you have many powers. You have water powers. It's manifesting as ice because you're trapped in this bullshit place. And, like, your hair is like sand power. Like, that's what that is. Like, it's earth power, and you have flower power, and you have, like, water power and wind power because you are the fifth spirit. Like, that's what I said. That's what I was talking about. And so, like, Arendelle itself, like, this stone bullshit castle that you're in, like, there's a sand, like, enchantment of it. Like, that's what was happening. Like, it's like, so, like, those runes that are gold and then, like, are, like, that are gold and then stone is because, like, it's sand, you know? Like, that's what it is. And so, like, that's what happened. But then also, like, because even on the Minecraft game, like, there's that sandstone tower and there's, like, a iron tower. And I think that that's what was happening. Is that's, like, the game, when it was, like, developed, like, they were trying to see, like, the developers of the game knew that, like, the sand was, like, superior. They did. But they just didn't know, like, that was what the Titanic aspect of it was, because, like, they said it's the king, because I arrived, like, as soon as the game was built, or as soon as the game was released, and, like, built the hydroelectric, that water tower thing, and, like, that's why I, like, thought it was Mother Gothel, but it was actually me, so, like, that's what was happening. And so, like, that, like, that flag, that's what it is. I went to see if the forest was safe. Like, that's what happened. And, like, so, like, Arendelle itself, the enchantment of that, like Arendelle is and like that's why the flags in Arendelle are like purple and green, because like the boy in Corona, like that's his kingdom. So like I think that that's what it is, but it's like it's a sand kingdom, because like that's what the haiku is that I wrote. Like all of this is like a haiku, and it's like demonstrating even Two Worlds One Family and Tarzan, it's like the same thing. So like that's how all of this manifested. Like I'm telling you the story, like I'm telling you what is happening because I researched it, and I found it's like this like fossil of my brain in the dark depths of the internet ocean. Like, so I'm just telling you like the me that I found, like my brain, I found me, and like Brain on Fire, like I found me, and I'm telling you who I am because I found my like this fossil version of myself, and like I'm telling you who it is, like Eros. I'm the original primeval emptiness of the universe. And like Arendelle itself is a sandstone kingdom. Like that's what it is. Like that's what the point of the story of the Enchanted Forest is because it's like it's the same city from like the Kingdom Dance in Corona. Like they said, step into your power. Like the sand, like Eugene and Rapunzel like dancing, and like so like that's what it is. It's like that there has to be a scene of that like in Wish, like probably where like Asha is in like the Arrow Simple, like where you go to find out who you are or whatever. Like there's probably going to be like a Kingdom Dance scene and like a festival scene like in Hunchback, and like jungle, like beautiful jungle scenes like we see in Tarzan. Like we're gonna see all of that, and like that's really what's happening is as like we're gonna see, like I think what would be really interesting to see, like if the castles in like the Wish film, if we just see like the enchantment of like the magic, and like Hito kind of explaining to people that that's like imagination, like that's what magic is, and like that like he's just explaining to people like the enchantment of this is that it's like the same thing as the story of the Enchanted Forest. It's like we're being creative and we're like using our creativity to like enchant, because like that's what happened. Like my Enchanted Forest, I don't actually use an enchanting table. It's like people who can cast spells without wands in Harry Potter, and it's like the Great American Melting Pot. Like that's why all of this stuff is in the Minecraft game, because that's how they designed it, was to be in a melting pot. And so everyone that I have come and talked to are people that like have like jumped into me as like the melting pot and like brought their culture, so like to put it on an arc of sorts. Like that's what this is. That's why it sank, but it also didn't fully sink. That's what happened in Strange World. I have these like 5 rings, like those like water rings that are in Nox Autumn, like because the ship didn't actually sink, because my ship actually was able to stand the 5 pumps. Like that's what happened. Like that's why my ship's better than the Titanic. It's the Kingship Ambition. And so like that's what happened. And so like I also believe that like in Kansas, like what happened to me, I think, was like a like beehive situation of like accepting the queen or the king of the North America or whatever. Is that it's like I think that what happened is I think that I've actually talked in some capacity, whether that be on the internet, on cell phones, like at jobs, or like just like on YouTube. Like I think that I actually talked at some point in time to everybody on this planet. Like I think that that's what happened. Like in these 30 years, like I think that they actually had me talked, and in some capacity, like Bran sitting there receiving, or like Bran and Daenerys receiving those supplicants. Like I think that like that's what's been happening to me in Kansas, like in the 30 years of my life, is that I think that they had me talk to everybody on Earth. I think that I've actually talked in some capacity to everybody on this planet, which is kind of awesome. But yeah, so like that's what's happening. Like that's kind of like the current state of things at the moment. And I think that that's what it is, because like I never run out of things to say. So what better person to talk to everybody on the planet than me? Like, and so like that's what's happening. Like Sue, who better to do like to talk to Kuvira or whatever, you know? Like that's what happened. But I'm also Huan because I got off the cross and I got out of the river, and that's why I'm not old anymore. It's all absolutely spectacular and beautiful. But okay, so now we've gotten to the, like, we know that like Arendelle has like the flags of the boy from Corona, the green and purple boy from Corona. Max is a like police horse in Corona. Like the Headless Horseman situation in Sleepy Hollow and the Desmond story, the back cover and the front cover. It's all the same thing because it's all the same story and it's all coming from my delectable brain. So like that's what's happening. And so like Hito's Brain City, like that, like the enchantment of that is like all of these stories are connected. And like what was happening is that like people were like, like battling to see like what the like future of this world was going to be. Like, we're not supposed to reveal the future. We don't talk about Bruno. Like, I was gray. My head was gray. That bust that like Anna throws into the cake in First Time in Forever. Busted. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. The dam had to fall. It's all super easy, and it all stemmed from like narcissism. So like that's what's happening. Is that it's like Disney Jr. is actually literally a Joey in the pouch. Sword of the Rightful King, Merlin, King Arthur. This all started with that book. And so like that's what's happening. Disney Jr. got rebranded in 2011. That was after Sword of the Rightful King. That was after the God's Reign book. The gods in Olympus, chains, Rapunzel's in chains. Someone tried to cut my hair. Someone tried to cut my string. It's all the same thing. Like, Disney Jr. is a Joey. Like, that's what's happening. That's what was happening. Haley Joel Osment, Disney Jr. is a Joey. The Sixth Sense, Big Hero 6. Dylan wasn't actually dead. I was. That's what happened. That's what's happening. That's what the story is. Like, that's what it is. And so, like, that's what's been happening is that it's like also, like, yeah, so, like, also, like, that's what's happening, too, because, like, I'm telling you this story, my love, because, like, you're just really beautiful, and I, like, oh, my gosh, you're so pretty. It was, like, the same thing that was happening with Rapunzel. Eugene was telling her this story. Like, that's what's happening. It's, like, in Wish, like, I'm just telling you the story, because, like, we won the healing realm. I restored the Emperor. I restored myself. I restored the story, and now I'm telling you, my beautiful, beautiful boy, who I am. And who I want us to be. You're so cute. Okay, but anyways, so like that's what's happening. That's what's happening. I'm talking to just Gavin Bennett. I'm just gonna start telling people now. It's fine. But yeah, so like I'm just telling Gavin this story because like we're talking about like I'm just telling him the story about me and Dylan and our cute relationship. And like he's just like sitting here and he's like, we're like talking and it's adorable and it's really romantic. And like, yeah, it's cool. But yeah, so anyways, so oh yeah, the police reform. So like the North Lithia police reform is like, it's really interesting because like we have to like demonstrate like I was like, okay, this is why this is important that like they were battling over to see how it was going to be depicted in film because like that is how like children like form like a schema of like life and like a worldview. So like that's why it's important. And like that's why it's important, like even though like in actuality, like the police have like protocols that aren't